Rendering a video, as you can see, rendering. Anyway, figure I'll do a drawing. Yes, dosApples style drawing, except much worse and sloppier. But that's what I feel like doing. To explain this, what the hell. Alright, so the concept here is about this idea of what is life, right? Well, first, it isn't, fluffy and soft and look little round, little round lettering. Ooh, life, little puffy clouds, yes. No, it's really, nasty. It's like, sharp little pointy, there's little points, there's barbed hooks on it all over the place, there's little barbed hooks that life is made out of. It's all a bunch of barbed hooks, and they go in and they don't come out, and they leave terrible wounds, and ooh, it's blood everywhere, lots of barbs, everything's covered with a barbs. Yeah, it just eats you up. Anyway, that's beside the point. Alright, so look, we have these old sayings like, there's this one with this pie thing, right? So you have this pie, this little lumpy little apple pie thing, right? Little holes in it and such. And what do you make it out of, right? You make it out of these little apple-y things. So you just make a little apple here, right? And it's very good if you just have some good little apples and they're nice and red and you don't got any little scurvy little things in them. Just the nice apples go into the pie. Everything's just fine. But if you put a bad apple in, okay, let's see what a bad apple might be square. Yeah, let's see, what would it be? Square, and what else would it have? Oh, I guess it would be toxic. Yes, it's a bad apple. So it would be pirate apple. Yeah, so you don't want to be eating no pirate apple. Yes, it'll get you killed. Ooh, scary. Little eyeballs and such. Big teeth. Anyway, yeah, so you put bad apple into the pie. Just one bad apple. Oh, pie is ruined. Why? Because it's going to take the little happy person, you see, the little happy person, and it's going to make them a sad person. Ooh, very sad. And it might even kill the person. They'll have a little line right through them because they'll be dead because of the bad apple. And so, yeah, there's suffering that we endure that is essentially a poison apple. Some people call it poison pill. Well, I'll just say pill. See? So one bad apple, one bad pill, poison pill, and the whole thing's ruined. Okay? So yes, a life could have a catastrophically bad apple in it, and you're done, you're finished, you're cooked, it's stupid. And I think people can understand that. And certain diseases would, for me, be a poison pill or a bad apple. And it would be toxic. The pie would be unedible, not worthy of eating. Foolishly baked. Wrongly baked. Alright, but anyway, we've got to get to the bigger picture here. So look, I'm contending life, the world, the universe, whatever. It's made out of these things. Positive things and negative things. Or vice versa. Yeah. And the trick is that basically a positive is basically just a negative superimposed on itself or turned around. So I could argue that one of the things we know is positive. Well, let's just get this right. Okay, so this is bad, right? Negative is bad, and this is good. And generally speaking, and it's sort of an absolute statement in the sense that even pain that some people would argue is good pain, or discomfort that is in the end product is that it prevents something. Like I could kick somebody in the nuts, right? Now the fact is that somebody is enduring bad because they're experiencing nut pain. But the point is that it could be good because it could be a rapist that was on his way to rape somebody and harm them and cause them bad. So it would be a good thing. But it would only be a good because of the equations, because of how you do this math between the pluses and the minuses, and then you have a net result, which is the end result, which is the final result, which is the conclusion result. So yeah, we'll put end in. Yeah, that's an important word. Yeah, and that's what matters, is this net, or the end, or the finish. But you have to understand what the pieces are made out of. Okay, the nut pain was still bad. This doesn't matter. I mean, if evil is suffering, it's still suffering. The fact that it might discourage evil from doing evil is good, but let's understand what it is. So bad is like this repulsive thing. Okay, so this will be the symbol we'll use for repulsion, and this will be the symbol we'll use for attraction. So good is attractive, things come together, things are ripped apart. Repulsion is bad, we sort of understand that. Good is like being comfortable, everything's complete, it's unbroken, it's in good shape. Bad would be broken. Yeah, so now the thing is broken, or it's split, or it's unfinished, or it's unclosed, or it needs fixing. Alright, so let's so we have our little lives here, a little stick figure life that we live, and we have big nuts and a big wiener. No no, it's just shoes, boobs, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so we live our little lives. Okay, and there's two things we can do. It's we have our own, like, our bucket of what we feel. So there'll be a bucket that we'll put, our life experience goes into. And there'll be positives and negatives and positives and negatives that we feel, that we personally, so it's our bucket. Well, it's your bucket, but whatever. So this is your stuff, the stuff that comes into you. Alright, and then there's stuff out. That is the stuff that you do to the rest of the world. Because there's a bunch of other yous over here. I mean, I know you don't think they're not as important as you, so we'll make them smaller and give them smaller nuts and penises. Yeah, because they're smaller than you. But anyway, in reality, they're just as big as you. You just don't realize it. But anyway, you're going to be affecting them. And so that's going to be your out bucket. Okay? Well, I should have left room for the out bucket. Alright, so here's your out bucket. This is the out. I'll put out on it. Okay, that's what you're doing to the world. And so how you affect other people, whether you make them comfortable or uncomfortable, whether you give them repulsive feelings or attractive feelings, whether you break them or keep them whole or make them feel good or make them feel bad, that goes into that bucket. And so in the end of your life, you got to add up these two buckets. Well, now it's going to confuse things using a plus sign, but this plus this will equal your net life experience. We'll just put XP. Okay, so that's the game. It's what you cause and what you personally experience will decide what your life is, whether it's positive or negative. Alright, so we know what the negatives are, right? We know that, yeah, if you go around kicking people in the balls, you're going to get a bunch of negatives in your out bucket. I mean, it's just going to get full of negatives. And we know if you've got all these miseries and migraines and all this other crap, then you're going to have a lot of negatives filling your damn bucket. And so how do you make a positive? I mean, where do you get these positives from? Well, you get those by satisfying a negative condition. So if you help other people alleviate their headaches, or you remove a headache, or you solve a problem for them, or make their life more comfortable, or give them some money, or some other kind of crap, then you'll make a positive. So eliminating these negatives, turning these negatives upside down, converting them, that's creating a positive. So when you wipe out a negative, you create a positive, basically. And when you do the same thing for yourself, and when you avoid or prevent yourself from doing something stupid that will cause you pain and suffering, that's a positive. Alright, when you eat right and do the right thing and blah blah blah, and it has a long-term net effect, and you avoid getting kicked in the nuts and all that kind of stuff, yeah, that's going to be a positive, because you'll avoid a negative. So I mean, that's a sure way to create a positive, is to prevent or kill, yeah, if you kill a negative. Alright, that's a positive, right? No doubt about it. I mean, that's a positive thing. Now the other way to get a positive is to do this thing, this feel good thing, right? Now the trick-o with the feel good thing is, and that's the whole point of this whole argument really, is that why do we feel good? And how does our body make us feel good? Well, I would argue that in your life, just living, just breathing and stuff, there's all kinds of negatives like fear and worry. Well, I ain't gonna spell all these stupid words. But you have all these emotions, okay, these are negative states: tension, physical discomforts, old age, bad tooth, a broken tendon, all kinds of little miseries, a bad back, all kinds of little negative states. And what happens when you feel good, it's like when you watch a movie or something, and then your brain just goes away from all this stuff for a while. It just floats over here and stays over here, your brain does, in your spinal cord. And so it goes on a vacation from this kind of tension and stuff, and that sort of relieves you of that. And so you have a sense of positive. You think you're in a positive state of being, when all you really are is in an absence of a negative state of being. You're not in a negative state anymore. You don't need anything. Okay? No need is good. Yeah. That makes you feel good when you don't need to go to work, and when you don't need to worry, when you don't need to be afraid, when you don't need to do all this kind of crap because the environment is harassing you with that crap. That's good. And so, yeah, we can also get this feel good thing by satisfying a native hunger. Okay? Like for food and sex and I don't really get the rest of it. Other people have a bunch of other shit on this list, like petting puppy and hugs, girl hugs, and all kinds of other crap. But I don't think there's much else but this food and sex thing myself. But anyway, these hungers, okay, are a reoccurring sense of deprivation or need. And they compel you to go out and satisfy them. And they reward you with this sensation of good. But let's remember that the hungrier you are, often the better the food is. Okay, and the less hungry you are, I mean, like a big piece of chocolate cake when you're really hungry is really good. But if you're really, really full, well, then maybe it ain't so good. And the same with the sex thing. I mean, if you're getting a lot of it, you start to get bored. And then you start saying, well, you're going to have to start swinging from the chandeliers because this really ain't doing it for me no more. But if you've been in for prison for 10 years and you haven't, even seen a woman's, then maybe the sex thing would be really, really, really good. Because you'd be a starving man. So anyway, I don't want to exaggerate that because it's not dependent on that kind of deprivation. But the point is the satisfaction, the feeling of good is just created because all these little harassments that always exist in you all fade away. And that's how the brain is using you. It's cheating you. And that's why I use the word addiction. Okay? It's because what you're being fooled the same way a heroin addict or anybody else is being fooled. Your brain is making you think you need something. Okay? And that it's going to reward you. But the reward is really just getting back to a state of zero neutrality. So the neutral state is the win. Okay, because you don't need anything, and so that's why you're not going to have to consume anything. So I didn't really get into the consuming thing, but let's all understand that in the real world, you, okay, end up gaining your satisfaction by giving this guy, like, because he's really desperate, you pay him 50 cents over there in China to go into a coal mine and dig out coal and risk his life and get his arms cut off and shit, and you do all kinds of crap to fuck with these people so you can live a more comfortable life. Now, if you just add up the positives and the negatives, well, there's no point because the sensations aren't any different. The sensations in your fucked brain, this is your fucked brain, aren't any different than the sensations in this fucker's brains. Okay, and it's all about what we're feeling. And little thoughts that bounce around are also important. But really, it's about them sensations, and it's about that quality of our conscious experiences. Because this whole thing is just made out of experiences. And the experiences are, by nature, good and bad. Well, good and bad. And the game is just to have more of these good ones in the universe and less of these bad ones. And you make good by getting rid of bad, as pointed out, and that's really the end game. And so the whole point is doing all of this stuff is a zero-sum game. You really can't make a pure positive. You can only make a positive when you first impose something like hunger or addiction and compel somebody to chase and gain satisfaction through having this negative state of being. Like I said, you're not going to eat the meal if you have no hunger. And that should teach you something. That should give you the knowledge to understand that you're not doing this because the thing itself is valuable. You're doing it because you have a hunger for the thing. Yeah, that's enough. So anyway, well, it's different. You know, these videos take forever to render sometimes. Not really much progress. It's probably going to take an hour and a half. Anyway, till next time and such, and so forth and whatnot.